we're gonna try something different since we're stuck here in New York in this blustery weather. It's a beautiful day, but it's blowing and I don't feel like walking around again like the other day at the marina. I thought we'd go on a little tour of our quaint little neighborhood here in the middle of New York City. It's what they call the outer boroughs of Queens, but actually we're just about 15-20 minutes from Manhattan on the subway. And we'll start at the oldest house, which is in Astoria, place of my birth. Here we are on 23rd Avenue. Coming for a little ride past LaGuardia Airport here, which is kind of the, I guess this airport related companies and services are probably the major employer in this area. Two of my kids actually are employed in the airline industry, which is one of the excuses I have for being able to travel extensively. This is my son's ex-school, his college alma mater, the College of Aeronautics. This is the neighborhood where I grew up. I lived here until I graduated high school, and then I took off for California. And check out Burger Queens. We don't have Burger King, we have Burger Queens. What do you say? You want to go outside? Go outside for a little walk? Alright, back in the car. So look at me. This is what the weather is like. There's no use combing one's hair for weeks at a time when it's like this. People forget that we live right next to the Atlantic Ocean, and it can get pretty windy in the winter and pretty disgustingly suffocating in the summer. But in the winter, it's the cold is always icy because of the air, the sea air. So anyway, now I'd like to take you to where I grew up, in the little section of Queens where I grew up called Astoria. Okay, so here we are in Astoria. At the top end of Astoria here is Rikers Island, known for the distinction of being one of the biggest and most, yeah, I know, I hear you. Come on, move. Most hardened criminals awaiting trial interned there until they are either acquitted or sentenced to a longer term elsewhere. I think I have to make a left there. And the family that the island Rikers is named after is one of the oldest families in New York. The island wasn't named after a prison. It was just a small island out in Flushing Bay here, which eventually flows into the Long Island Sound. Here we are. There's the house. I believe, I know it's one way, I can't go down the block there, But I believe that you can take a tour of this house, but you have to call ahead and make an appointment. I don't think you could do it now. I've never been inside, but it's supposed to be really nice. They have a lot of artifacts from the old days. That's it, still inhabited. This is my apartment house where I lived until I was 18 years old. We lived in the back. 2 bedrooms, kitchen, bathroom, and living room. There were 3 of us, my twin and I, and an older sister. And our parents. So we only had 2 bedrooms. One of us had to sleep on the couch. That's the way it was. It's a small apartment, but it was a place to live. Let's go around the corner. Let's see if I can pick out, if I can remember which house he lived in. Tony Bennett. Born Anthony Benedetto. Changed his name to Tony Bennett, I guess, to get more gigs. It wasn't as ethnic as the Italian name. This is new on the corner. But these houses down the block here are all the same. Since, I guess, the 40s, the 50s, the 40s. And I believe that Tony Bennett's house was here. Which one? Can't tell you. But I have some pictures. So I'll have to look it up when I get home, and I'll point it out later. This was the block where Tony Bennett, the famous jazz singer and musician and artist, lived. He's still alive now. I think he's in his 90s. Over here, on the left, go down this way, is the high school that I went to. It's called St. John's Prep. Let's say I was sentenced 4 years to this high school. This is the track. Before it was a high school, it was a, I think they said, I was told it was an insane asylum. There it is. When I went there, there was the boys' side on the right and the girls' side on the left. And everything was segregated except music and theater. So I managed to make my way into both groups so that I could get more of a diversified background, let's put it. A lot of things that have remained the same. What's this guy doing? Damn it, he puts the signal on after he stops. Look at how this is going. What a banana. I'm gonna get into an accident this way. Hurry up. Move. Yeah, where? I can't move. Look at this idiot. I love New York. Look at this idiot. I gotta go this way. I can't do anything. Wait. Well, you're getting a driving lesson at the very least. Okay. This is the main. So if you look to the right here, wow, it looks like they're making a Target there, I think. Over here on the right there is the last stop of the N train. And that's the train that we take to go to Manhattan. It takes 15 minutes. Okay, we're back online. Back to my little enclave where our house is. And I'm going to point out a couple of nice places here. People are really trying to get ahead of everybody for nothing. There's somebody's flying into LaGuardia. And right underneath that plane is Citi Field, home of, look at this banana, jerk, home of the amazing Mets, when they're amazing. There's a house on the corner. It used to be like a hip-hop studio, I think. Looks like a castle, but I think it's changed hands a few times. Nobody ever lives there for very long. I don't know why. On our right is the marina where we walk our pets and enjoy ourselves in the evenings, the hot evenings. It's always cool down there. Let's see if I can get past this cat. Yeah. By our block to take you to secret location. Okay, here we are.
Turn left onto 107th Street, then your destination will be on the left.
Okay, so here we are. Arriving at a very historic place, although it might not seem extraordinary at first view, and I'm going to explain as soon as we get around the block. This was the home for, I'd say, 15 or 20 years, the last 15 or 20 years of the life of Louis Armstrong, famous
Your destination is on the left.
jazz trumpeter. Okay, we'll just have a look here. Try and get out of the sun. And on the right here, we are facing of the beautiful future home of a jazz concert hall. Here's Louis Armstrong's house. There are many pictures of him and his wife sitting on the steps here. That's what we do in New York. We sit on the steps, although we call it the stoop. Maestro Armstrong's house is now a museum, and you can visit it and spend a couple of amazing, magical hours seeing his house as it looked back in the day. I'm gonna leave the dog in the car. And hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Seeing his house as it looked back in the day, and hear him speaking, describing what he was doing, because he had a reel-to-reel tape recorder that Les Paul, the famous jazz guitarist, gave him. And he used to tape things with his voice and keep it for a souvenir. I think the museum is closed today, but here, there's the door. There's a lovely little gift shop in there, and here's the garden where they have little combos playing in the summer. It's pretty nice. And there's the jazz hall across the street, still being built. 3449. Here you go. There's also a painting on the wall in Maestro Armstrong's study that was painted by Tony Benedetto, alias Tony Bennett. Here's my buddy. And just around the corner here is the home, albeit not very long all-time home of another famed jazz giant. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. And that jazz giant was named John Burke's, quote, Dizzy, unquote, Gillespie. And he lived here, I believe.
Your destination is on the left.
13, 17. Right here on the corner. So let me. Yeah. And he lived there from 1952 until 1966. So, Louis Armstrong lived there around the block here from 1943 to 1971 when he passed away. They were neighbors. I wonder if they hung out together. It's possible. Then Pookie and I are gonna go home and have lunch, okay, Pookie? Or dinner, one or the other. How about lunch slash dinner, huh, Pookie? Do you like lunch slash dinner? Sounds like a plan, doesn't it? Yeah. BP, $3.43 a gallon for regular, $3.79 for silver, and $4.13 for ultimate. And this is March 8th? I think it's March 8th. So, that's all she wrote. But at least at BP, if you pay with cash or a credit card, you don't have to pay extra. Like some of those places. I don't know what the story is with that. I think it was yesterday or the day before. If you didn't pay with cash, you had to pay 15 cents a gallon extra. I mean, what is the use of that? Is there a logical reason for that?
I got a reason.
This was the house of Ella Fitzgerald in the 50s. It's a private house now. Logical reason? It's quite a gorgeous A-frame. Quite unique even for this neighborhood. There's a lot of, in our neighborhood there were a lot of these big houses, but it was known as a middle-class neighborhood. Very tolerant middle-class neighborhood where people diverse races and ethnicities could live together and raise their children. I'm going to show you one more house, two more houses, the first of which belonged to a famous vocalist during the war years and afterwards in a band called the Ink Spots. And I had no idea. I know the fella that owns it now. Very nice guy. I don't know if he's from this William Kenny's family or if he just took over the house after Kenny's death. But this is where he lived. He's a famous jazz or crooner singer called William Kenny. Bill Kenny, who was in the Ink Spots, lived right there. Now one more house still standing is the house of Malcolm X. Go down here. Modest home. He and his wife lived here. I think they had kids too. Okay, well, thanks for watching that. Now you get an idea of what it's like in our neighborhood, the general area. Tonight we're filming. It's actually not freezing cold and windy. It's not windy at all, but it is kind of cold. As soon as the sun went down, I hope this is a trend and not something unusual. This is a nice little park in College Point. Behind me is the skyline. To this direction is the Bronx. Oh, look who's there. And there's the Whitestone Bridge in the distance. And this is another nice spot where you can see the planes coming in. It's a whole line of them. They're on line to come into LaGuardia. And they're coming from the other direction too, so I guess they have two runways open tonight. They're probably taking advantage since it's not windy, because there's usually so many preventions to getting in on time, especially on domestic flights. Well, anyway, when I was little, I used to walk down the block by my school when I was about 6 or 7 and think to myself, wow, this must be the most important place in the world. And a couple of years later, when I was 8 or 9, I realized that, we're just a speck of dust in the grand scheme of things. But there is something special about everybody's town. And be it, the place where Jesse James passed through, or Billy the Kid, or jazz greats lived, or, a meteor fell. You never know. It's good to sit back for a minute and think, how lucky we are, each in our own little towns, in our own little way. I hope you enjoyed that, and thanks for watching. See you next time.